Well, hello, everybody. It's Grace. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. I'm traveling. It's been a little hard to sort out exactly where and when to do a video, but I have such a great travel idea that comes up, a stressful belief that appears for many, even in their daily life. So I'm in a place where I've come to my cousin's wedding, and it's Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if you can see there. The light changed just a little bit, and you can see this incredibly beautiful countryside outside. There's a glorious field and forest and uh, family land at a place called the Highlights Foundation, which is the Highlights magazine for children. So on one side of my family, that is an old legacy that's owned and run. There's this conference center for people that do children's books and children's writing and illustrations and magazines and educators of children. And a lot of stuff happens here. And I've learned even more than I ever knew before, which is a wonderful experience. But everyone knows what it's like to be on the road or staying at a place and meals are served at a certain time. The kitchen is open at a certain time and you've got your hour to be there, and then the kitchen closes and there won't be food. Just knowing this can bring up stress in people, and then sometimes they'll say to themselves that they shouldn't be stressed about what's going on when it comes to this kind of dynamic. But some of the thoughts are, I better eat now because it's the hour that's available for me to eat. I will be hungry later. I might even be starving later. Or, oh no, I've missed this meal, or I'm late. Rush, rush, rush to get there. Like sort of a survival kind of idea kicks in just around timing for food, that it's not available all the time for you at any moment. This is something I recognized along the way with an eating thoughts and eating ideas that I realized was stressful for me, because I did not want to overeat just because I believed there wouldn't be any food, or I wouldn't have enough later, or I would be uncomfortable with hunger at some point, in the future. So this is really, really important to question, I think. Really important to question. Because number one with eating peace is to be peaceful in this present moment. And I find it is really only peaceful in the body. It's possible to bring the mind to peace no matter what's happening in the body. That's one thing. But really, a supportive peace is feeling peace in the body right now in the present moment. And that means not overstuffed and not incredibly hungry on purpose. If you can help it, you do your best. You're in the world in that way. And in this present moment, I'm not overstuffing and I'm not starving. And of course, starvation and that kind of thing actually happens in the world. Sometimes there's not enough food or there isn't any food, but it's very rare for most of us. Very rare. So let's question that thought when you think you need to eat something because there's not going to be a meal for a while, or there shouldn't be a meal, like you just shouldn't be eating for a while. It is important to question all shoulds, in my opinion, when it comes to food and eating. So, just to really boil it down, it's like thinking, what if there's no rules at all and I really am in the present moment? Isn't that how most animals live? Isn't that what we also do with most of our body? We just we feel really tired or something feels like there's a pain and we'll address it. But we don't worry before it happens about whether or not we'll be in pain or whether we might cut our foot when we're walking. Most of us don't even think about it. And then if we did, we'd get a Band-Aid and get some help and do whatever we needed to address the issue in the present moment. But we don't have to pre-plan or pre-worry. It's almost as if, since there's been so many disasters of overeating, we better fix this and pre-plan in a huge way, like kind of over dramatically adapting to this idea. Let's pull out all stops and all the forces on this problem, but just to relax, take a deep breath and relax, and trust that you will take care of yourself in whatever way needs to happen. I will take care of myself. If I suddenly find myself incredibly hungry, or out in the woods somewhere and I miss the hour that lunch is served, I can question that I'm in danger. I'm in danger because that's going on. Is that true? Is it true that my survival is threatened? That it's so uncomfortable, I can't stand it to be hungry, that if I miss a meal in this pre-planned, schedule of offerings, I will have to wait till the next one. That's absolutely the only option. Is that true? It's never been true for me. If I've missed a meal that's served in a place like this and there really isn't much to go to find for food in the area because we're out in the country far away, and I'm not even sure that that's true, but if that's the case, I found almost every time there are other ways. If I ask if there's any snacks or food or anything to be found, is there something to eat? There is always something to eat. I will be okay. Reducing the stress or the fear of survival in the future, not having enough, can be an incredible thing. It sounds so simple, but just to trust this present moment and stay with your body as it is in this moment, and trust that you will get help for it if food is required in the future. And it's okay if it's not on schedule. That's called not dieting anymore. That's called not pre-planning and trying to control and run and work with and manage this whole thing around food and eating in such a way that we are constantly either in the past, upset about what's happened in the past, or trying to control what's going to happen in the future. Just be with the sensations and feelings in the body right now, hunger, fullness, and respond to it with loving kindness. So wonderful to notice out there and about in traveling life, but of course bringing this home to your daily life, because you might experience this on some little wee level. I'm not going to get enough food to eat. You might have this running in you during a meal, and one of the reasons why it's hard to just stop and end the meal. There will be more food. More food is coming. It's so unlikely that there won't be. Maybe the body at that survival space doesn't know that, so it's acting as if we have to be very, very careful here. But that's like survival, and this is not a place to be worried about survival. I'm on vacation at an amazing wedding with a huge gathering of people, and believe me, I will not be too hungry. And I can just taste of the food, enjoy it, and stop. So sometimes if you narrow down the places where you are having trouble with food and eating, you'll notice that the stopping of the meal, like starting when you're hungry, that's okay. That works. You can do that. But somehow underway while you're eating, something has a great trouble just simply stopping the meal at a certain space where it's just comfortable. So this is your practice. Is to notice I'm safe in this moment, even if I stop eating this food right now, even if I leave things on the plate. Notice how safe you are. You can even practice almost on purpose, leaving a few things on the plate. I like to say I leave a few things on the plate for the fairies. Do it however you want to get a practice or a hang of it, that the world doesn't end. It's not an emergency, and it's not a bad thing, and you're not wasteful, and it's not horrible if you do that. You're actually just breathing and being with the present moment as it is, and noticing what's required and what isn't for comfort. And then you can even ask, practice going light at a meal and noticing that if a requirement for food comes up before the next meal, You'd be amazed at how much food is available. But without stress, without fear that if I don't have it, I'm going to somehow die. It's like that's what's happening in the inner mind. I know we know it's not intellectually true, but it's the way we're acting. So, who would you be without the story? There won't be enough later in the future. In a few hours, I'll be uncomfortable. Who would you be without that thought? All right. Let me know how it goes. Take care.